Hey everybody, it's Meochia and Disha with another Mad Conversation. Mad Conversation stands for Meochia and Disha, mother and daughter conversations. How y'all doing? How you doing, Disha?
I am doing well over here in Club Quarantine. Or not quarantine, but stay home, stay safe.
Amen. Stay home, stay safe. Oh my goodness. So listen, it's interesting. They have found that there have been so many more cases of domestic violence. I think it went up by 30% since this COVID virus has come about and people have been trapped inside of their homes. It's very interesting. You would think that this will be a time of families coming together, but the opposite is happening inside of some households. That's why I think we thought that it was so important that we talk about toxic relationships, because you would think at a time like this that toxicity would decrease, but instead it's increasing. So me and Deshay
Yeah.
wanted to talk to you all today about toxic relationships, family, friends, and men, how to deal with them, how to recognize them, and how to get out of them, and even how to determine if you are toxic. Because sometimes you just don't know. Anything to say?
Oh, yep. Also, along with that, because of this coronavirus and stay at home um, laws that has been enacted all across the country, a lot of individuals too are using this as a time to reunite with people. And they need to understand that maybe you did cut that person off because they were toxic. It's okay. This does not mean you need to make amends. Let them stay where they are.
Exactly. Exactly. This is a time when you need to just kind of concentrate on getting you together, especially what people are dealing with mental health issues, anxiety, and all kinds of things. Definitely a time to be trying to make peace with others and also within self. So, toxic relationships. We will all experience them at some point in our lives. The thing is knowing how to identify them, what to do about them, and how to avoid them, as well as heal from them. So if you have a daughter who is in a toxic relationship, or your mom is in a toxic relationship, one of the worst things I think that you could do is walk away. I know you feel like it sometimes, you don't want to hear the drama, you're tired of all the excuses, but they need your support. We all will deal with a toxic relationship at some point in our lives, but we always need support.
Yes, and even if the relationship may be between the mother and the daughter, you have to realize what is it that's causing that pain, confusion, and that hurt, and how to end toxic behavior so that you two can grow a relationship with each other.
Exactly. That's good. So, what is a toxic relationship? So, we have come up with a mad definition.
Mhm.
Toxic relationships are a noun, an adjective, and a verb, because you feel like you want to choke somebody, you feel like you're going crazy. Sometimes you are the victim in it, and then sometimes you want to just run. So, noun, adjective, and verb. Any relationship that leaves you either or all negatively impacted and drained mentally, physically, emotionally, and or spiritually, that is considered a toxic relationship. It can have you feeling like you're spinning out of control, doing things that are totally out of character. When you are experiencing that, run or at least get help.
Yeah,
Have
I
you
would agree.
ever experienced some of those things, Deshay?
Oh, yes, definitely. And before, didn't necessarily have a name to it, but you knew that something wasn't right, right? So this is really key in helping you find the signs and the symptoms to your problem.
Exactly. So we want to talk a little bit about who the players are in these toxic relationships, as well as what are the signs. Three people play a major part inside of toxic relationships. One is your family members, the second one is your friends, and the third one, ladies, are the relationships you are in, the men that you are with. These all can be the players inside of a toxic relationship. It could be an uncle or aunt when you talk about family. It could be siblings, cousins, or a parent that is always asking for something but never giving anything but a hard time. They use bloodline as an excuse to why you owe them something, and they use guilt trips. So
Mhm.
beware of family members like that. It could even be, like you said earlier, Deshay, mothers and daughters. where you feel like there's some type of an obligation to them, like you just have to help them. And you should be helping each other. But when it comes to a point where it's a person being taken advantage of, that's when boundaries need to be made.
Yes.
The second one are friends. This is the friend that never shows up to support anything you do, is always negative or pointing out your flaws, and competes instead of cheering you on, or willingly allows you to fail. That's not the friend who's giving you helpful advice, or the friend that's being honest, because sometimes we mistake honesty in friendship with somebody who's being negative and wanting to see you fail. That's not the case all the time. Sometimes friends want to hold you accountable, and sometimes they have to be honest in order to help you to get your stuff together. But then there's that other type of friend that's just negative. Nothing that you can do is right. And anything that you can do, they can do better. They're jealous, they're envious, they're always downing you. Those are the friends that you want to watch out for. This person is always downing you and never empowering you. That is a toxic friendship. The next one is men. This partner lords his strength over you, whether it be through finances, pity, physical strength, or verbal attacks. He constantly puts you down or is unfaithful and blames you for why he does what he does. Let's go back to that screen. This is a type of man you want to be careful of, because what happens is after a while, you start feeding into the BS and you start really questioning yourself and asking, well, am I good enough? And you could be the best woman in the world, and this guy can be a scrub. But if he is a toxic person, he'll begin making you feel like it's not him and it's you. Everything he does is not his fault. He doesn't take responsibility. It's you. And he'll hold things from you like helping you pay a bill, helping you get some of the things you need if you've asked for it. You know, he tried things like pity, making you feel sorry for him. And sometimes he'd even be abusive. You have anything else to add? You have animals?
Nope. But the only thing that I cannot wait to dig into is just more into each one of these categories, because so far I feel like most of us have been down this route before, and because of the guilt and the pain that comes along with cutting off a toxic relationship, like it's that song that I love, like it ain't nothing to cut that person off. And even though it's not, that's the first step, but sometimes getting out of it, it's still a healing process that comes along. So this is true. So just knowing that, hey, family, friends, and even who you date, no matter what corner you turn, a toxic relationship just may be there waiting to stir things up.
Yeah, and whew, you're right. Healing has to take place once you're able to recognize it. That's why, again, mothers and daughters, we continuously say that support is so important. Your daughter needs to know, even if she thinks she's so in love, or her friends are so loyal, she needs to know that you are going to be there no matter what. You know, you might want to just be like, girl, get it together. But, you know, sometimes you just got to be silent. You just got to be their silent partner and just wait, offer some helpful suggestions and just wait. And as far as family members are concerned, you have to protect your children. When they become young adults, you can't protect them as much, but you can tell those other people in your family, look, back up off my baby. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the toxic signs? Disha, you tell me if you felt any of these. One, you feel lousy when they go away. I mean, this is how much this stuff burdens the person who is in the toxic relationship. And you know, because you have dealt with me in friendships with toxic friends, you feel like you owe them something, or that they need you, or you even feel guilty like you're not being true when you start seeing the signs and seeing that something is wrong here. But maybe this person did something for you. Maybe they even saved your life. Maybe they got you out of trouble. Maybe they're lording some type of secret over your head. So you feel like it's, you know, I gotta stay true to them. You know, it could even be a gang situation. Who knows? You know, this was your homie when y'all was locked up. This was your girl y'all used to get suspended together. She was there when your mom died. Just different things like that. There's a loyalty that you feel. So when you thinking about them leaving your life makes you feel like crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely say I can relate to that with friends, family, or just men in general, to be real about it. Like with friends, it's like you kind of, you know that this person has been burdensome, But at the same time, sometimes that is the only person that you do have around you. So without you even realizing it, you start to pull that person in when you started limiting your time with them. And you're like, why am I in this cycle? Well, it's because you're not comfortable being by yourself. So
Yeah.
that's how. Same thing with family. We can talk about, just having those relationships for people, because for some degree, they may have taken care of you, or they may have added to the advancement of you in your life after a certain point. However, they can use those things to kind of abuse and keep you. And just remember, you don't owe them anything. The fact that they decided to do what they did for you should have just been kind and a gift anyway. It should have been genuine. And anything genuine doesn't come with pain. Same thing with guys. Yeah, same thing with guys. Like, feeling like you owe them something, feeling like you're in a relationship, and it's just like, okay, why can't I get out of this? Well, because one, soul ties are real, and two, it may not even be you. It may be a spiritual battle, and for that, you got to take God in that. Like, hey, I'm trying to wean off this person. They own my spirit. I know they're not right for me, but for something else inside of me is pulling for this person. Put God on it.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
yeah,
I was in a real toxic relationship. It was a crazy soul tie once. And it was so funny. Whenever I'd be with him, I would just feel so miserable, right? But I felt like I could not stay away from him. And then when he would leave, I would feel like so miserable. There was always this pulling. It was not healthy. It was not healthy at all. And when you have situations like that, you really have to sit there and do a checklist. You have to do the lie versus the truth. Is this relationship healthy for me? No. Do I feel good when I'm with this person? Do I feel empowered? No. So why do I feel that I can't be around them? What is it about me that needs to change? What is it about me that I'm lacking, that I feel that I need them? Because remember, this behavior can be addictive behavior. And when you're dealing with addictive behavior, you feel like you cannot pull away. It doesn't mean that the relationship is good for you. It doesn't mean that you can't live without it. You just feel like
exactly.
that. You have to be able to prioritize those feelings, put them to the side, and move on. Another sign is you'll always feel like you're walking on eggshells around them and cannot be yourself. You feel
Yeah,
defenseless against them, like you cannot fight back or like you lack power. And that's that thing
yeah,
again inside of that relationship. I could not figure it out for the world with this particular person, why I could not get away from him. I felt like I did not have the strength. I had to, and literally, I had to pray him off of me just to get the strength. And it's okay. It's okay to have to pray. It's okay to talk to your friends and say, hey, I need you when he calls. I need you to just distract me. I need you to talk to me. I need you to come over and keep me company so I don't go and do anything stupid. Or when this girl comes around, I need one of you to, just find something else for me to do because she is not my friend. you know,
yeah.
Walking on eggshells is whenever you and this person have a conversation, there's always some type of tension. So you feel like you can't even just speak to them normally because they're either correcting you or you're not saying the right thing or they're dominating the conversation and you begin to just feel so small.
Yeah,
You don't
and
even want to
that's
talk because you're afraid of conflict. So
exactly.
that's one of the signs of toxic relationship.
And then let's talk about this. You don't trust them and they keep you in trouble. They have done bogus things to you several times and you take them back. So how is this toxic? It's toxic because you already have issue, you're uncomfortable, but yet you keep putting yourself in that situation. And it's just like, hey, you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to be uncomfortable. You can clearly, like, I don't know, it's just ways to walk away, and it's definitely a lot easier said than done. But nobody wants to be always on edge all the time unless you're a person who likes that stress. But if it takes all of that for you to be around that person, then you have to cut them off.
Yeah, and sometimes when we find ourselves inside of these relationships, mothers and daughters, um, sometimes as daughters, you don't want to come to the mom because you don't want to hear that I told you so, and
Mhm.
it's hard. But I want to encourage you to put the pride to the side because you need the support of your mother, even if it's a mom who feels like, oh, I can't bring this to my daughter. She has enough things going on and she don't want to hear grown up problems. This is a time when you should be talking to her because she may have some things that she's going to go through or encounter inside of her life. And she needs these experiences to draw from because you'd rather have her to get it through wisdom than to experience it on her own. So talk to her about it. Your daughter needs to know that you are human and you are still growing and you are still going through things too. She needs to see you triumphant. And sometimes when you can't do it for yourself, you can do it for your child. So,
Yeah.
do it for
Yeah.
your kid and just walk away from that type of relationship. You should be with somebody that you can trust. You should not, when you are older, you should not be with friends who are getting you in trouble. And you should not be in a relationship with somebody that you don't trust, whether it's family, friends, or a man.
Yeah. Yep. And I definitely agree with all of that. And even digging more into, you know, the mothers and daughters that have toxic relationships, sometimes it may not necessarily be the daughter, or it could be in a way, but you have these mothers that are very toxic. And because of that, um, they probably cause their daughter to lose trust with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be something that happens again and again and again, and because of that, it's just like, all right, what do you do at that point? How do you regain that trust back?
So we're
How
gonna
do
talk.
you
That's good.
huh
I said that's good.
Yeah.
When you finished, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but since you started, I'll just kind of tap into that a little bit. Mothers, when your daughter has been hurt by you so much that the trust isn't there, you may want to consider bringing a mediator in, and you may even want to consider, if not a mediator, to talk with both of you. Maybe you can find a woman that you trust, whether it be your mom or whether it be a sister or just a
Or see
close
who she
friend.
trusts, see who your daughter trusts at that
Yeah,
point.
well, your daughter has to trust this person too. And a lot of times
Yeah.
she'll open up to somebody that she's close with inside of family, or maybe it could be your friend, or maybe it's somebody else that you meet who's kind of neutral, or maybe it's somebody that she knows. But I'm thinking about somebody who knows you well enough that can probably help to mend the relationship, right? Because you need that. And then, mother, you have to figure out what it is that you can do to build that trust back up with your daughter. And you have to be able to confront these issues that has her feeling that way without you shutting down the conversation, without you getting upset or just feeling so guilty that you begin to make her feel guilty through crying, through your shame. You have to be woman enough to sit there with her and hear her out, let her talk, and just start hashing that stuff out because it needs to get out in order for healing to take place, in order for you all to start building a better relationship.
Yeah. All right. And this last one is like the point I had brought up earlier. So what is toxic signs? You stick around because you have no one else or think they don't. Learn why you feel the need to take care of them and suffer in the process. And like I said earlier, they want you to make you think, well, they want to make you think that there's nobody else in your corner, like they're the only person who cares for you. And because they'll be like, well, I let you do things too, but I still took you back. Or you hurt me too and I still took you back. So it's just like, when you start realizing that cycle and you start adding up, or maybe be looking at, like, something that I always do is, whenever I'm angry with any person, I always take out a list and I write out the good things and I write out the bad things about what it is they're adding to me in that relationship. And if the bad outweighs the good, then it's just like, all right. Or if there's a person, I'm just like, well, maybe it's not that much, but maybe we can make some changes. Maybe we can talk about it and change some things, then that's fine. But for somebody to isolate you and make you feel like that after doing harmful things to you and they're not changing, then that's a relationship that you have to sever. And I love the whole thing about suffer in the process. Sometimes you got to go through the pain and let that pain get to you and just hurt so bad that you won't repeat it again.
Yeah. Allow yourself to hurt, because in that hurt,
Yeah.
healing takes place. But if you prematurely walk from out of that hurt and you try to cover it and you don't allow the healing process to go forward, right, you'll end up back inside of that situation. You never really will have an opportunity to heal, and it's important for you to get that opportunity to heal. You have to go through the process. Deshay, that's awesome. You have to go through the process. Um, a person can make you feel like you don't have anybody else, and sometimes you probably don't. It doesn't mean that you won't have anybody else. Maybe at that moment you have some severed relationships in your family and that person knows that. So it's like you're thinking, well, I mean, it's better than the relationship I got with my family. Every relationship around me is toxic. This is better than those toxic relationships. No, you should not have any toxic relationships. So you just let it go. Because it's sometimes better to just suffer alone and get through it and get you some help than to stay in it. Healing cannot begin while you're in it. It doesn't happen that way. Okay. So those are some of the signs of toxic relationships and how you feel. So what we have developed is a mad toxic relationship troubleshooting manual because you got to know when to go. Disha, it looked like I lost you. Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, you somewhere. You kind of disappeared. Okay. So the first question in the troubleshooting manual is, can the relationship change? Yes, it can, but that depends on you. You have to set boundaries. You have to be honest. You have to speak up and know when it is time to exit. Mothers and daughters love and trust each other through these struggles, but don't turn on each other. You will need each other's support. That is so important. If you are a mom and daughter and you have the toxic relationship, you got to sit down at some point and you got to begin to talk. You either have to get a therapist, which I highly recommend, because you need a mediator in between you two. Because if not, mama's going to always be mama and daughter's going to be daughter. Somebody's going to get mad and nothing is going to get solved. You all need each other. You all need support. Okay. And if you can, find some groups that you can become a part of. Within your community, within your church, check online. There's so many things going on, and see if you can get into some support groups that'll help you to be able to hash out some of those issues and find a healthy way to begin to talk about things. So the situation in the relationship can change. If it's a relationship with a man, if it's a relationship with a friend, it can change. But again, boundaries, honesty. You have to be able to talk up and recognize it. So when it comes again, you all can avoid it. And it has to be two people working together, not just one.
Exactly.
Should I engage or confront them?
You have to understand your motivation. If you're confronting them because you are angry, it will result in a battle and you may not be prepared to handle it. It's not a good idea. Wait until you cool off. If you are doing it to help them become better, find a trusted mediator or suggest professional help. Don't try to be their therapist.
That's not your job.
How often do we get caught up in that world though? Because it's just like, a lot of people, they don't think about going to therapy and all of that stuff or can afford it. But when a person is toxic to you and does something harmful to you, it's kind of up to them to figure out after you told them what it is that made them respond that way. There's nothing that you can do to change them, their attitude or behavior. It's really something that they have to do. So don't get sucked in and say, oh, well, I did this because of XYZ told me to, or they was around, or I got mad, and expect you to be like, oh, well, here's the cue so you can do that again, because they really have to take a soul dive into themselves to find the root of that problem.
Yeah. What if I love them? Stop.
Stop it.
Stop right there.
Stop it.
Who should you love first and foremost? I mean, besides
the Lord.
You have to love yourself more. Sometimes these dependent, not independent, dependent relationships are nothing more than generational curses. The toxic person will drag you down and leave you there with that type of attitude. That's what they'll do. They'll drag you and drop you. Take care of your well-being first. Get healthy and let them seek help elsewhere. Break the chain. Learn what it's like to be in a healthy relationship. You have to experience that. I don't care if you go back and look at the Huxtables. You need to know and experience what it is like to be in a healthy relationship. Don't start thinking it's awkward. I mean, at first you do. When you are around a bunch of dysfunction, when you actually get into a functional relationship, it feels really weird because you're not used to that. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know who's going to turn around and act crazy at a certain point. So you're always on guard. But you do need to experience what that feels like so that you can bring some of that into your own life, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Generational
definitely.
curses are real. They are real. Why do I feel like I have to take care of somebody? Why do I feel like it's okay for people to hurt me? Why do I do that? And I had that really bad habit of that. I felt like, I wouldn't say that I felt like I did not deserve goodness to happen to me because I did feel like I deserved those things, but I always felt like I'm okay. I can be strong. I can take it. I can take it. They can't take it, but I can. I became a dumping ground. And after a while, no, you can't take that. It becomes too much pressure. So I had to learn how to love myself, how to forgive them, and how to let them go. Doesn't mean I hate you. It just means that I have to let you go in order to save myself and my sanity because I was the one that was hurt at the end. And this person, these people would just walk on by. It's just what they would do. And so you have to break those chains. What if I can't leave them? Wait, what? What do you mean if you can't leave them? First of all, establish some clear boundaries. If you are in an unsafe situation and feel like you can't leave, please call the abuse hotline 1-800-799-7233. Learn what abuse is, whether it's from a family member, a friend, or a mate. When you see it clearly defined, you can decide if it's a good idea for you to stay or not. If you are interested in getting the signs of abuse, please visit www.thehotline.org. Is this abuse? They have an awesome article and a list of questions that you can check out and you can decide for yourself if you are indeed inside of abusive relationships. Because that's what toxic relationships can boil down to, abuse. And nobody has to be hitting you or cursing you out to be abusing you. There's so many types of abuse, it's ridiculous. You can leave anyone that doesn't mean you any good. Don't ever feel like you don't have a choice because you always have a choice. And remember that abuse hotline, the number is 800-799-7233, and there are advocates who are standing by who are waiting to talk to you 24/7.
Yeah.
Sherry, you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Where's your video?
I don't know. I think it's whatever this phone. Can you see me now that I'm talking?
No, I can't see you at all.
What? My video was going.
Oh, okay.
Can you
So
see me
what?
now?
Yeah, I'm still here.
No.
So the next question in the mad troubleshooting manual says, what if I am the toxic person? That's a good one. Congratulations, you have taken the first step. Do you understand how hard it is to admit that you could possibly be the toxic person inside of the relationship? Well,
I
one
can
of the
imagine
keys
very
to
hard.
past it is admitting it. Would you say, Deshae?
Oh no, I was saying I can imagine it's very hard. It's like, hello, my name is Jane and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, exactly. So the first question is, are you really the toxic person in the relationship or do you just feel that way? Because sometimes you can be abused and beat down so much that you do begin to feel guilty and you do begin to feel like it's your fault when really it's not you. It's literally the people around you. And that's again where we start talking about those generational curses, where like in my past, where I felt like it's okay, I can take it, it's all right, you can say whatever you want to say to me, but I'm not going to say that to you because I understand that that hurts. No, 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 no. And I did feel like, okay, well, it's me, it's something about me. It wasn't me. I had one friend, oh my God, she was terrible. She was so toxic. And I just felt like I had to be loyal. I had to be her friend. And one day her mother pulled me to the side and she said, sweetheart, this relationship that you two have is not healthy. She said, my daughter is narcissistic. She has been diagnosed. Do you know what that is? And I was just like, no. And she began explaining to me what that is. And she's like, no, she is not healthy for you. And she was right. But I was so caught up in this loyalty thing, caught up in, I have to be good, I have to take care of her, that I was literally dying in the process. But boy, when I got my wings. Anyway,
Yeah. And
So
it's even ways to evaluate yourself, just like I said earlier, to see if a relationship is worth having or not. Take the list of good and bad. Sometimes you have to take those lists of make a list of people who you can't stand, but you can't seem to get away from. And when you do that, you write down everything you can't stand about them. And it's probably not easy because for whatever reason, you and this person don't mesh, or they may hurt you in a certain way. And then just put out like, okay, your thing can be, man, she talked too much. That's why I don't like her. Well, after that, right, what is it that she's talking about? And how do you respond to it? And I know that's kind of like a lot of reacting and stuff, but it may help you see like, whoa, is it really them? And if you have the ability to list out some other people that they may interact with and their responses towards that person. And sometimes it may take for you listing out all that stuff just to be like, wow, okay, this is me or it's them.
yeah. And actually identify again what a good relationship looks like and compare that relationship to a good relationship. And it's one of the things that I said earlier that you have to be aware of. Don't mistake somebody holding you accountable for somebody who is toxic. Because sometimes it's just that we don't want to be held accountable. We think that our friends are there at our beck and calls and are supposed to be our ride or dies, and it's okay to be ride or die, but I can't follow you to hell. I just can't, you know? All right, so here's a couple of things you might need to do. One, consider therapy and get help. If you are in fact the toxic person, get help. And if you're not the toxic person, but you keep on attracting these type relationships, consider therapy. Get help. I did, and oh my goodness, did it work wonders for me. Sometimes you just need someone to bounce things off of. Number two, ask for forgiveness and learn to forgive yourself. Um, and it's okay to go to people and say, hey, listen, I noticed some patterns and some things going on inside of our relationship. Uh, if I have done anything to you or you felt like I've done anything, can we talk about it? And if you don't want to talk about it, maybe you don't feel comfortable. I just want to ask for your forgiveness. I'm trying to work through some things, and man, I just want to make this right because you've always been a friend and I want to be your friend, or I want our family to work, or I want this relationship with you to work, but I need some help. And, just asking for forgiveness. And even if they don't forgive you, forgive yourself. That's important too. Okay. Because you can't sit in it. You can hurt a little bit, but it's a season, it's a time to mourn. Walk away, get it together. Number three, step away from any old or new relationships until the healing happens, or until deliverance takes place, or until help is received. You cannot continue to build more relationships on top of relationships when you haven't really dealt with the issue, because what's going to happen is that pattern is going to continue, whether it's today, tomorrow, or next year. It's going to pop back up. So you want to deal with that. You want to get some time to heal and let deliverance take place. So basically, at the end of everything, you got to know when it's time to go when it comes to toxic relationships. You got anything else to add to that, Disha?
It ain't nothing to cut that toxic relationship off.
Amen. There's nothing to cut that toxic relationship off. So there you have it. Another mad presentation from Meochia and Disha. You can always email us to contact us at madmadcombos@gmail.com. Again, my name is Meochia. That's my daughter Disha. We put the mad in mad, but we're not really mad. All right.
Mad.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Could you really? You can't see
I'm
me.
sorry. Hold on one second.